Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Oh, when you hear that music, you know what time it is.
You know what time it is, guys. It is the March Madness episode. Really excited for this one. The man, the myth, the legend, the heartthrob of Colorado, David, a.k.a. Better. DP21 is this week's special guest. Him and I are going to go game by game, share our first round bets, any futures, fell to bracket. This was one of my favorite episodes to do every single year, and he's always been a part of it. Appreciate him for that. But before we bring him on, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, ProphetX. Guys, if you're not using ProphetX, go to the App Store, download ProphetX, use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend, David. How you doing, dude?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Had a really good Irish dinner before this, so I'm really embracing St. Patrick's Day and the luck that I'm about to bestow upon everybody here.
So let me tell you about my dinner, dude. I had zucchini and ground chicken.
Yeah. Get yourself a girl that'll make you corned beef, mashed potatoes, carrots, cabbage, the whole nine with a Guinness.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude. But you know what, dude? Like, here's the thing. Like, I went to the Big Ten tournament, and I'm on this like crazy diet. I've been fucking rock solid. I'm now 30 pounds, been a fucking star. I went to the Big Ten tournament. I had a thing of chicken fingers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Way too many Modelo's than I'll ever admit on here.
Sure.
Going back on the Metra, you remember like what Sabaro's pizza that was always
yeah.
They have one of those at Chicago's Union Station.
Okay.
I downed 2 of those. My stomach still hasn't fucking recovered, dude. Like from the chicken fingers at the UC to the fucking what the pizza, my stomach is not recovered. So yeah. We're not here to talk about that. We're gonna break down the tournament. Before I get into it, when the tournament broke, what was is there any takeaway or anything that kind of stood out?
Yeah, I mean, a few things stood out, right? Like the bracket's loaded with, in my opinion, after just looking at it all for a couple of days now, like it's got a bunch of trendy upset picks. I think that's where a lot of people are going to actually lose. And then everyone, I think, thinks they're being really sharp this year. And so I'm approaching this with a real bettor's mentality. I think the real edge is going to be in fading the quote unquote smart picks and actually building a bracket that survives the chaos, not like chases the chaos. So, everything that I'm looking at is like, limit the early upsets and targeting real value spots, but differentiating yourself late, right? Like I'm talking like Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four type stuff. And there's one big leverage region, in my opinion, which is the Midwest. So we'll get into that, as we kind of like target that a little bit later. But I think those were my biggest takeaways that I saw. And then, of course, I found, I think, a few early on bets in the first round matchups that, probably like a couple from each region that, I'll be looking for as well.
My big takeaway was some of these seeds I don't get. And I don't really understand, like St. John's a 5 and having to play Northern Iowa.
Oh yeah,
being in the same bracket. I mean, St. John's just won the Big East. Now, granted, the Big East is down,
right?
But a tough Northern Iowa, potentially Kansas, and then Duke in the Sweet 16. I mean, that to me right there, that really doesn't make sense. Also, Vandy as a 5 with a Sweet 16 rematch against Florida, that kind of stood out for me. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Part of me really wishes that St. Mary's and St. Louis would have changed seed lines, because if that was the case, I am loving my St. Louis 80-1 future to make the Final Four. Sure. I am loving it, but having to go against the pressing Georgia team, then against Michigan, I mean, I really wanted them to get to that 7 or 10 line, but some of the seedings that really stood out. But other than that, like, I think all the teams that got in. I don't think I agree. Miami should be out of the play-in, so I don't really have any gripes, just some of the seedings and everything, where everything kind of.
I would agree with you there. I think that was also a takeaway I saw was a lot of underseeded teams. You mentioned St. John's. I think Utah State's another one. Overseeded teams. I think Kansas is in that conversation. Potentially Clemson or Wisconsin as well as 4, 5, and 8. So definitely some ones in there that I'm looking at as well, where you would have the chance to fade them. So.
Dude, it is so cold here. I'm just letting you know. Like, we have a fucking wind chill advisory here in the Chi. I have my fucking space heater on. It is so fucking cold here. I just turned around to make sure I had that fucker blowing at me. Let's go ahead. Let's bring it up. Basically, what we're going to do is we're just going to start. We're just going to go game by game. Any bets, we'll talk about, we'll share. Let's go ahead. We're going to be going through on the ESPN one. I mean, Duke versus Siena. Do you have any thoughts on this game? Or,
I mean, the pick is Duke here, right? It's a spot you don't overthink it. I know the public's 99% on Duke here, but with Duke's size, length, NBA level talent that they have, versus Siena's guard heavy mid-major offense, like it's a style clash, but Siena's going to want structure and Duke's going to dominate transition at half court. So, I mean, it's Duke for me here. No brainer.
Obviously Duke. I mean, I was looking at betting. One betting angle that I kind of found was both teams play very slow. No Chandler for Siena's a major loss. No Foster for Duke, but he'll come back later in the tournament. But here's the thing. Duke, 21-10 to the first half under the season. Siena, 17-9 to the first half under. Shire, 72-50-1 to the under in his career. 8-3 to the first half under in the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, if you're, for my boy Maddie, who could be watching, a huge Siena guy, if you're looking for some action, I think the first half under is definitely the look, dude. Next game, dude. I have one in here. Interesting to see what your take is. TCU, Ohio State.
TCU, I mean, neither conference champs, both at large here. Matchup for me is going to be Ohio State's half-court execution. And, TCU is going to really try to set pace here. So, and they really, thrive when the game gets loose in that sense. So, OSU always is going to prefer like a controlled possession, like tempo for them. So if TCU, in my opinion, has the ability to force tempo and pressure that defense as well, like added pressure defense against OSU, like I really can see the upset with TCU over Ohio State here. There's a very, like from a bettor's perspective, this is, very, very small public line or lean, if you will, toward TCU at about 57%. So, I mean, the upset factor is, 9/8, so to speak. But this is going to be a classic, like, quote unquote, better athlete wins to me as a 8-9 seed. So, I like the upset here with TCU though.
Oh, we agree. I took TCU here plus the 2.5. I think it's a tough matchup for Thornton. Don't trust the rest of the Ohio State roster. Ohio State due for some 3-point regression. Ohio State is shooting an insane 40% from deep, due for regression. At a plus 6.1% shooting delta, 15 highest in the tournament. For those who don't know what that means, because I'm going to be referencing that a fucking insane amount. That is since February 1st. So basically last month and a half, I looked at what they were shooting from three and what their opponents were shooting from three. just did the differential. Ohio State lacks depth. TCU, they've punched up well all season. They played Kansas tough on the road, played Houston tough. We'll have the advantage on the glass for some second chance points. Top 60 nationally in rebounding. They're going to force the ball out of Thornton's hands. They're going to be able to get to the free throw line. Ohio State really doesn't have much depth. TCU 8-3 this year as a dog, top 25 defense. I really feel this team lost to New Orleans at the first game of the year. And New Orleans is god fucking awful. Right. If they would have won that game, I think they would be a lot higher than that 9. I think that blemish is keeping them down. 5-0 ATS on neutral courts. I think neutral courts this season. I think they have a huge advantage. So yeah, I'm on TCU. I got them at +2.5.
Nice.
And I'm gonna play them through here.
Yep.
Next one, my friend. We're going to St. John's in Northern Iowa.
Yeah, St. John's being the Big East champ, right, against UNI. St. John's has pressure defense, and UNI is very disciplined as well with like a very low turnover offense. So, the key here is going to be if UNI is built, to beat anything that, St. John's gets sloppy on, right? They're not a pressure heavy team. But in UNI right now, in terms of like a bettor's mentality, is getting the quote unquote smart upset pick treatment, I think, from the public right now. They are currently with like a 60% public, favor. The upset factor to me is what I kind of talked about early, right? You want, if everyone thinks they're betting sharp, they're not, right? The sharp play here, in my opinion, is, actually St. John's, not actually falling for that 12/5 trap here. So I'm actually going with St. John's.
See, I bet Northern Iowa, my friend. I got them at +11.5, and I also sprinkled a little bit on the money line. I look at like NIU is just a tough matchup for St. John. St. John has struggled in games out west. NIU is going to take care of the ball. That's going to limit St. John's fast break and defensive pressure. NIU played St. Mary's, who plays very similar to St. John's, and played them tough, only lost by 5. The whole thing is St. John's going to be able to knock down shots. NIU packs the paint, forces you to shoot threes, and they've shown they don't have reliable shooters in the Pitino era. They're coming off a 48% shooting game against UConn, now traveling out west, due for some regression. NIU plays slow, packs the paint, as I mentioned, limits transitions, forces teams to shoot threes. That's the weakness for St. John's. St. John's is allowing just 27.6% from 3 since February 1st. Obviously, opponents are due for some positive shooting regression. Missouri Valley teams, 55% ATS in the tournament, 57% in the first half. Strong defensive team here, and they're not going to allow them to get out in transition. They literally don't send anyone to the offensive glass, dude. As soon as the shot goes up, everyone goes back. Look at the 3-point stuff. NIU shoots 35% from 3 on the season, 94th nationally. But since February 1st, 40%. So we could see some shooting regression from them. But then again, the opponents for St. John's, only 27%. So that thing kind of butts heads a little bit. To me right here, this just comes down to which team is going to be able to make a 3-pointer. And call me crazy, I kind of trust NIU better, Northern Iowa better.
I'm calling you crazy. I think they're a good system team. I think they're a good system team, but I just don't see it. Like, again, this is one of those things that these are record-based teams. They're not great metric-based teams, like in someone like as Northern Iowa. So I'm staying away from that. I'm going with St. John's.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Okay, this is
flip a coin.
We're not gonna flip a coin, dude. You know what? You're the guest here. We're gonna give this.
Oh, okay.
But when my ass goes out to that Rockies game with you, if Northern Iowa covers the 11.5, not the first round, the first 2 rounds are on you.
All right, I got you.
Now, if St. John's covers, the first 2 rounds are on me.
I got you.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Next round here, I do not thankfully have a bet in this game. We got the Kansas Jayhawks against Cal Baptist. Did you see how Cal Baptist got into the tournament with the missed dunk, my friend?
I didn't see that, actually.
Yes, they got into the tournament because there was a missed dunk. Lovely. Go ahead, talk to me, big dog. What are your thoughts here?
Well, not a lot to talk about. I mean, to your point, like, this is not one of those Cal Baptist getting in just as you described as the WAC champ, right, against Kansas here. Kansas, honestly, just size and rebounding versus Cal Baptist tempo and spacing. You know, the key of this whole game is going to be Kansas can control the glass and interior scoring, right? The only concern is Kansas hasn't been dominant. They always leave that back door open for a cover or some, close matchup there to happen. So public is definitely on Kansas 75-80% right now. It's a very small 25% upside for anybody that's looking for the contrarian play here. But more or less, there's very slight interest on Cal Baptist, but this is probably more uncomfortable than it should be when I'm like really looking at all the numbers. It's still Kansas for me. I'm going Kansas.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about this one. Kansas.
Okay, good job. Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, like,
you don't have to get nerdy about that one. I'm just checking.
Well, dude, I'm just saying, Cal Baptist, fourth highest 3-point delta due for regression, offensive rebounding. That was a strength in conference play for them, but against Kansas's front line, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. They're going to struggle on the glass. I mean, the key thing for Kansas is what are we going to see from Peterson? He's averaging over 30 minutes a game. I mean, early on in the tournament, I think we're going to see him do well. Yeah, for me, Kansas, dude. It's kind of a no-brainer. Next one, my friend, where's your head at?
Yeah, so looking at Louisville versus South Florida, the AAC champ.
So real quick, for me, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one everyone seems to be on. This is the one for me. Everyone's talking South Florida. For me, from what I've heard, my limited stuff on Twitter and everything, my limited stuff watching the TV stuff and everything, and BTW, huge downgrade from Jay Wright to Bruce Pearl from what I saw Sunday night on the selection show. But to me, this seems like everyone's chalk South Florida.
All right. Well, you're heading exactly where I was going, right? Like, again, this is a top-heavy region with Duke and UConn, right? The real edge here, in my opinion, is fading two very obvious public dogs and picking the spots in the middle that we talked about as we kind of, go further in the bracket here. So, that being said, when I'm taking a look at, Louisville and South Florida, my bet and my money bet is going to be on Louisville for this game. Louisville scoring versus USF's defense and physicality is really what's going to stand up in this matchup. The key here is whether or not South Florida wants to grind this game into the 60s, right? So the narrative, as you just mentioned, is that they're a popular tough 11 seed here, right? The public is weighing heavily on them around 60%, maybe a little higher at this point. It's definitely got one of the higher upset probabilities on the board just because of where the public is. But again, this is a public dog. To me, it's a big fade. At that point, it's not a sharp pick to be on that side. The sharper pick is to be on Louisville. So going Louisville from a straight bettors mentality of how I look at that.
What's Brown's injury for Louisville? Feels like a trendy pick with South Florida. South Florida veteran team, fast-paced track meet style game. Like all Louisville games, it's just a high variance game. South Florida's coach, I don't know if you heard this. He's from the area. Old man has dementia. He is going to be in attendance for the game. So there's obviously that public angle. Todd Golden type tendency. He wants to get that pop. You know what I mean? Remember Golden was at San Francisco, came in, won a round, and then left for Florida. That's what this coach seems to me. He's going to win a round and then leave. Veteran roster, I don't think it's going to affect them that much. We've seen these young rosters in the past when the coach is leaving kind of check out here. It's not going to affect them. Wherever he goes, they're going to go. Louisville has struggled while stepping up in competition. Kelsey seeking his first tournament win. Public's heavy on South Florida, but for me, I just think it's going to come down to the final possession. I just trust Louisville's playmakers a little bit more, so I'm gonna go Louisville here.
There you go.
So look, dude, I'm wearing a Michigan State hat here. I'm just gonna say it here. North Dakota State was not going to be a team that relies on rebounding is not going to out rebound a Tom Izzo team in the fucking first round. Michigan State likes to get out and run. North Dakota State has struggled stopping the fast break. They're going to look to, they like to force turnovers. That's their big thing. As long as Fears doesn't kick anyone in the ball sack and gets kicked out of the game, they're going to be fucking fine.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the spot to get cute, right? So I agree with you. North Dakota State, Summit champ, they can shoot, but they struggle against size and athleticism. And I don't think, an Izzo-led team here is going to be out in the first round either.
Next, we're going to UCLA, UCF. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so this one, 7-10 matchup here, nobody's a conference champ here, right? The matchup is really purely around UCLA's structure and defense versus UCF's athleticism, right? So, the key is going to be whether or not UCLA can control the tempo, right? Yeah. They need to limit their transition chances for UCF. This is a true, in my opinion, 50-50 game. Oh, hell yeah. USA just tied the game, by the way. Bryce Harper bomb.
I have not watched one goddamn pitch of this exhibition baseball.
Whatever, man. I'm enjoying it. So anyway, where was I? All right, so true 50-50 game, and it leads to an upset 50-50 split here as well. There's a slight lean toward UCLA, and pretty much that's the team that's going to, I think in my take, dictate the style of the outcome of this game. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way as the Sharps, UCLA, not trying to overthink this too much with getting cute here either early.
I think UCLA can make a run. High Point over Wisconsin, 0 chance. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with UCLA's injuries. Their big guy got hurt. Dent got hurt. Dent's injury was a lower body injury. With how fast UCF wants to play, how is that going to affect them? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What is that going to affect them? Corin in the Eastern time zone has really struggled against the number at UCLA. UCF has been up and down, inconsistent. We saw them beat Texas Tech. God, then they got boat raced by Cincy. Interesting contrast in pace. UCF wants to get out and run. UCLA is not going to want to get out and run. If UCLA is fully healthy, I think they get this done. So let's go ahead and pull them through.
Yeah.
UConn Firm.
I
can't even fucking talk, dude. Can't even talk. Any thoughts here, man?
I mean, not a whole lot. Furman likely can hang for a half, right? Like that's where my thoughts are. If you're going to look at this game as, where can I get an edge with a dog play here? It's going to be in the first half, right? Everybody wants to come out. They're going to play, competitively spirited, first half, I think, for them. But then talent's going to win out in this game, right? Furman can score, but they're not going to be able to defend elite size. UConn has that with physicality, and I just don't see it being a big upset play here. So going UConn.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I thought they're going to be a 14 seed. I was a little surprised they got seeded this low. This isn't a typical Utah team. I think they've been overvalued this year. But coming off that performance against St. John's, Hurley's going to have them through a practice through fucking hell, dude. So yeah, I'll go UConn here. Let's just keep it on going. Go up to the top. Duke versus TCU. What are your thoughts here, my friend?
Yeah, so looking at that, I mean, I'm going Duke. I pretty much got them going pretty far in the tournament.
I mean, TCU is an interesting. They've punched up all season. Houston tough. Kansas tough. Duke does have some injuries, though. Is Foster going to be back? When their point guard is back, that bring the shitty bruiser off the court. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't think he's that fucking good.
Right.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But, in a situation, I'll probably bet TCU here to cover depending on the number, but I think Duke will advance here. Kansas against St. John's.
I like St. John's.
Yeah, I like
St. John's. I think they're underseeded, like I mentioned earlier, right? Like I'm sticking with that narrative where, like I said, I'm going to mix it up in the middle of this bracket. I wasn't mixing it up, too early.
For me, I mean, if this is the matchup, I think St. John's is going to be just way too fucking physical.
Right.
I think they're going to be able to control the pace. I think they're going to get into what is name? What spacing on the kid's name? I was just talking about the freshman guy, the elite guy from Kansas, Peterson. I think they're going to be able to get his face and make life utterly uncomfortable. They got men there. To me, matchup wise, Northern Iowa is a tougher matchup for St. John's than Kansas is. So I totally agree here. Michigan State, Louisville. This is the ultimate. Louisville just shoots threes. Michigan opponents have been shooting 45% against Michigan State from three over the last 4 weeks. I believe that's my stat.
Oh, I think I got a text or two from you about that.
And I just feel that Louisville is such a high variance team. I'm going to take Michigan State. They'll have the advantage inside. I think Michigan State's going to control the pace. I don't think Louisville back-to-back games making threes. That's not something I want to be behind with how volatile they are. Yeah,
I'm on Michigan State as well.
Interesting matchup here, UConn and UCLA.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it just a little bit, but again, I'm sticking with UConn's size and physicality in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of goes back to what you touched on a little bit with making the assumption of UCLA's health, kind of where they sit a little bit too. I get them getting out of the first round, getting out of the round of 32 though. Definitely got UConn going.
Yeah, agree 100% here. Top half, Pitino against Shire.
Oh yeah, no, we're going Duke.
Yeah, I think that Duke, point guard should be back by here from what I've read. St. John's, they just aren't built with the shooters they have to make a deep run. Shire has been elite offensive and defensively. He's going to force them to shoot from the outside. Boozer against Hopkins will be good, but I think Boozer's the player. Boozer is the player of the year, so I'll take Duke. Michigan State, UConn. Now, this is my 2 cents here.
I was going to let you have this one because
Michigan State.
I think you have more invested.
Michigan State is going to be able to win the rebounding thing. We saw it against St. John's and twice against St. John's. You kind of struggled with the physicality. You're going to be able to run multiple people at Reed, the big man from UConn. Fears isn't going to turn the ball over. I'm telling you, as long as Fears doesn't kick someone in the nuts, I think they're going to be able to win this game. And with the shooting stuff, I think we're going to see Michigan State knock them down. I'll take Michigan State here over UConn. But for me, and I am wearing a Sparty hat, I think this is where the run ends.
I agree. I got Duke in my final.
Yeah. Let's go all the way down here. We got Florida against whoever. Obviously a no-brainer here. We got Florida. We'll just skip over that one. Next one, dude. We got Clemson against Iowa. Talk dirty to my friend.
Yeah, so, again, neither conference champs here, both at large teams, so this one might be a pretty clean 8-9 coin flip in the bracket. Clemson is more balanced, more physical. Iowa's path is a little obvious. Score early and get into their pace, and then force them to trade offense for the next 40 minutes, right? Like,
yeah.
If Clemson controls the tempo and keeps Iowa out of rhythm, then the Tigers should have the better profile in this game, right? So right now, in terms of percentages, from a bettor's perspective, the public lean is with Clemson at 55%. That obviously has the upset probability in the same vein of about a 50-50. So I'm I'm kind of leaning Clemson as well. I don't look at this as a major leverage game, but I will take Clemson with the ACC here.
Dude, we're going head to head, dude.
All right.
I am invested in Iowa here at -1.5. Clemson is outside the top 100 defending the pick and roll. Slits, the point guard from Iowa, he's going to be able to exploit that weakness. Iowa's not going to be overwhelmed by Clemson's athleticism. Clemson is dealing with some injuries themselves. To me, I look at it like this is a grind it style game. It's going to favor the team with a better playmaker, and that's Iowa. Iowa, to me, Iowa's a team I like because they can shoot threes, they can defend, and they play at a slower pace. Those are the teams I like in these tournament type settings. So I bet Iowa here -1.5. You know, you got Clemson.
I mean, it's such a 50-50 game. Yeah, you could put Iowa there, man. I don't think. Let me look real quick. That has no bearing, like on the next round. So,
all right, let's go Iowa, dude. Let's go Iowa. All right, next one, my friend. We got McNeese against the undefeated Commodores.
Yeah, so McNeese won the Southland. Vanderbilt is an at-large team, and I always try to point out conference champions, right? Like I like to let people know that they're going against a conference champ and some angle there. This is an obvious public dog game in my opinion. McNeese is getting the Cinderella buzz. There's a lot of previews of flagging them as the South's upset team. Vanderbilt, though, has opened as a sizable favorite. And some regionally previews are, trying to say Vandy not to like give away the point, so to speak. So estimated publicly right now is on McNeese at 65%. It doesn't have as strong of an upset probability, but it's definitely there at 35%, if you will. So I think this is a great fade the trendy 12 spot angle, right? So that is, again, something I took the narrative with to open the show, is that I think there's a lot of trendy spots on the board here. This is one of them. And I'm going to stick with Vanderbilt as a 5/12 and not a 12/5.
In the chat, it's basically all overs. Everyone their aunt is taking it over here.
Yeah.
For me, my notes on this game, high scoring game, points over the team. Is McNeese going to be able to get stops? McNeese has length, athletic talent. Can McNeese control the shot volume? Larry Johnson, who used to play at Creighton, got kicked off, expected to have a breakout performance here. I'll be looking probably to play his point prop over. Vanderbilt playing 3 games in 3 days, now having to go out and play on a Thursday. Is that going to wear them down a little bit, especially against that Havoc defense to disrupt Vanderbilt's guard play? Both teams likely to foul. The key thing here is McNeese ranked 68th in KenPom, so they're one of the better mid-major teams. But when I look at the shooting, McNeese shot a little over 7% better at home than in neutral and road games this year. And with the defensive schemes that Vanderbilt's going to throw out, that is going to be the thing that McNeese needs to do. Now, if Johnson goes off and has like 40 points, yeah, you know what? McNeese is going to be right there. I just don't see that happening. I'll take Vanderbilt here as well. Next one, my friend.
Yeah, so Nebraska versus Troy. We got a 4 versus 13. Troy won the Sun Belt. Nebraska's the at-large team here. So Nebraska has the better athlete for athlete profile. They should be able to handle the jumping class, but Troy is exactly that kind of 13 seed that can make a game ugly if you let them hang around, basically. So this isn't my favorite like upset pocket, but when you're kind of looking at the numbers again, public right now is about 75-80% on Nebraska. Very small chance for an upset here. some mild Nebraska lean for me. I'm really, taking Nebraska just based on what the numbers are kind of showing me.
I'm on Troy plus 13.5,
Oh, boy.
and I played them plus 800 on the money line. Dude, every single Nebraska game is just a 3-point shooting contest. Now
Yep.
you're going to play in a venue you've never played in before, unfamiliar shooting environment, playing with balls that are overinflated. To me, that has disaster written all over it. Troy can generate second chance opportunities. Since February 1st, do you want to guess who the 10th best offensive rebounding team is per Bartolo?
I'm going to guess it's Troy.
It is Troy, my friend. With a 30 for the season, they have a 33% offensive rebounding rate, 53rd nationally. The key thing comes down to is Troy going to be able to hit threes. Nebraska lets you shoot the three. Troy's going to have to be able to knock down a couple. Troy is very physical up front. As I mentioned, high variance game, value in the underdog on a big number.
Big number.
Troy's going to supply pressure. They're going to full court press. How is Nebraska going to do against the press? Because no one in the Big Ten presses. They're going to play zone, which is also unusual in the Big Ten. Nebraska is going to get a lot of looks they haven't seen playing in a gym where all they can do is shoot threes. Dude, to me, Troy is insanely live, dude. And like Troy beat USC when USC was fully healthy. No, sorry. They beat San Diego State. Then the game after that, they lost to USC when they're fully healthy by 1. They beat Akron, who I think is the best mid-major team in the tournament, at home. I love Troy here. I told myself, whoever Nebraska is playing, I am fading.
Well, the public fade could be in Nebraska's, favor as well. So yeah, you can put Troy in advance on there. I don't hate that.
Let's do it, dude. We're going Troy, baby. Come on. Next one, interesting game. Another one we're seeing a lot of people talk VCU. Where's your head at here?
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. So neither conference champs, right? Both at large teams here. The matchup angle, like this is going to be a swing game in the region, right? So a lot of people are calling VCU a live 11/6 upset, as you just mentioned, right? Upset models have this one in the high 30s. North Carolina, in my opinion, is still the more talented team, right? The bracket chatter is absolutely real here in this matchup, though. Public lean right now, UNC about probably 52%, VCU at 48%. So true 50-50 matchup looking, even with the swing of the game of 6 versus 11. There's a lot of sharp interest on VCU, and the public is more split than usual here when it comes down to it. So I get the VCU case, but for bracket purposes, it's maybe getting a little too popular. And in my opinion, you take North Carolina when you start seeing everybody lean that public heavy line toward that favorite underdog again. I'm fading that public dog spot.
I mean, I look at it, VCU 6.6% shooting delta since February 1st, due for regression. People, I really feel, underestimate this North Carolina's team defensive ability. Are they going to be able to function offensively without Wilson? The big thing for VCU is they funnel everyone to the rim. That's where Wilson was elite. Yeah. How is the freshman point guard Dixon going to look with no Wilson? Who is UNC going to look for if this is a one possession game and they need a bucket? Hubert Davis, 9-2 ATS in conference games. Game is in Greenville, South Carolina. Obviously, this is going to be a de facto home game for UNC. VCU likes to press. Virginia likes to press. When UNC played Virginia, they averaged 1.4 points per possession. So that's the only really similarity team in the ACC that I could look to. As crazy as it sounds, UNC rarely fouls. VCU likes to get to the line. I really feel this game, how it's called is really going to affect it. You know what I mean? If they're calling a lot of tic-tac stuff, if VCU is able to get to the line. But yeah, to me, I'm going to take UNC here. Hubert's shown he covers these games. They have this. I think even without Wilson, they have the interior. And I think their guards are better than people realize. I'll take UNC here. Next one. I love Fran. I fucking love Fran. But you're going against this Illinois team. I know Illinois is dealing with locker room issues. Rumor is Stojakovic has 1 foot out the door. Ethan Roberts, who was Penn's best player, was out against Yale. He's expected to play per Fran. Fran's very familiar with Illinois. TJ Powers coming off a 40-point game. Is he going to be able to repeat that magic? Illinois, from 3 over the past month, 31%. They usually shoot 41%, so they're obviously due for some regression. Is Penn going to be able to get stops? How are they going to handle the pressure? What's Illinois' killer instinct here? You know what I mean? This team, to me, has all the talent in the world. They don't look to step on someone's throat. And I was looking back at Penn's games. Penn shot 50% from deep against Villanova. Guess what the score was?
I'm guessing within a possession.
They lost 90-63.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? To me, this is you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's Illinois all day for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, Illinois, the Illini's recent slide cost them seeding, but they still open as a huge favorite here from a betting profile. Yeah. And Penn's profile is much more interesting to me as a nice story than a real upset threat. So same type of idea. You already put them through.
And I'm just letting you know, my South Alabama Jaguars are by 9 at Auburn, but that's I regress. Best match to me right here. This is the game I didn't bet on that I have the most intrigue to watching. It's just such a special contrast and matchup. Texas A&M pressing, wants to generate turnovers. St. Mary's wants to play slow. St. Mary's really struggled against Vanderbilt's pressure early on in the season. They want to grind it out. Texas A&M, as I mentioned, wants a zoo-type game, run, fast pace. Key question, is Texas A&M's lack of turnovers they had since the middle of January, does that have to do with the SEC teams getting used to them, getting used to buckyball play, or with their defense taking a step back? St. Mary's should control the glass. Are Texas A&M's bigs able to draw St. Mary's bigs away from the rim? St. Mary's is the best three-throw shooting team in the country. So again, officiating is going to be a key. If Texas A&M is getting called a lot for hand checking and St. Mary's is able to get extra points on the line, that is huge. Coaching edge, Tony Bennett is solid. He's going to have his team prepared. Texas A&M 3-9 this year against teams in the Big Dance. I'm leaning I didn't bet this game. I want to watch it. I have St. Mary's winning in my bracket.
Yeah, you hit on multiple angles that I was looking at as well, right? I mean, St. Mary's wants structure, execution, half-court control, right? And A&M wants to bully them and win a possession battle here, but this is the game that you just mentioned. It's going to swing on rebounding and foul pressure, right? So I'm going to prefer the higher floor half-court team in this setting here, and I'm also leaning with St. Mary's.
Houston, Idaho. I'm just going to say take Idaho's team total over. Houston gets to. Any thoughts on that game? Or
you got it. You nailed it.
Up top. So look, I really feel this is going to be a game at the 4-minute mark. People are going to be like, oh shit, Iowa's only down by 3. Florida's down by 1. You know what I mean? I feel this game could be a little tighter with Iowa's style. I could be wrong, but I think Florida's size is eventually going to overtake what Iowa has in the interior. We saw Iowa play Michigan very competitively because they are able to force turnovers. Lee's not going to turn it over. Right. Boogie could, but Lee's not going to turn it over. Florida's guards, I think, are going to cost them with their inability to make some shots, but I don't think the spot's here. I think Florida gets through.
I think Florida gets through too.
Next, Troy against Vandy, baby.
Yeah, I'm leaning Vanderbilt to get through on them. I know we just kind of talked about the upset play of Troy, and it could be the heater team. It really could. I think I mentioned it earlier as well. I know when I look at it, I am personally avoiding the trendy upsets. So like I know we put Troy through, but again, my bracket more had Nebraska against Vandy. And what I really kind of see happening here. And like I said, I think a lot of my, better trendy upset picks are going to come from the Midwest, not the South here. So, I'm sticking with Vanderbilt. That's why I didn't really care if you put Troy through.
For me, I just think we've seen all the time a team gets a big upset and then shits the bed the next game.
There you go.
Year after year. Vandy defensively is going to be able to throw stuff at Troy that Troy hasn't seen. And they have guards that can get to the rim, that can make threes. Vanderbilt, to me, when they got Miles back, just add another element. I think Vanderbilt gets through. My first note under Illinois is cakewalk to the Sweet 16. That was
really
under. Illinois can shoot threes. They're elite at offensive rebounding. North Carolina, for me, when they lost Caleb Wilson for the season, lost the guy that when they need a bucket, they don't have.
Sure.
That's my big thing. Now, could the guy who went off for not 8 or 9 threes or whatever against Clemson come out, whose name I'm spacing on? Of course. But I just feel that.
So tell me who you think's got better guards.
I think Illinois is the best guard in the game.
Okay.
Overall, I think it's North Carolina.
That's why I'm leaning North Carolina.
All right, I'll give you North Carolina. Because you know what? Doesn't matter that much in the next game. St. Mary's, Houston. I think this is first to 50 wins.
Sure.
Houston is going to be able to limit St. Mary's chance. St. Mary's, Houston's going to have the better guards. Houston has more playmakers. I think Houston's going to be run through the gauntlet after that Arizona loss by Sampson. I got Houston here, to pull my late.
Same.
Top half, my friend, Florida against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt struggles so much on the glass. Florida's got the size. Florida got burned last weekend by Vanderbilt. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think Golden's going to have these guys ready to go. I think Vanderbilt's lack of interior will show up here. I'll take Florida all day.
Same.
North Carolina, Houston.
Jesus
Christ, dude! If you said North Carolina,
no.
We got the rematch here. This is where I think the guard play of Florida shows up, dude. I think Houston is going to make Boogie and Lee make some stuff, make them very uncomfortable. Does Florida have the size interior? Yes. Are they going to have the rebounding edge? Yes. But we've talked about guard play a lot here. I trust Houston's guards more. I don't think Lee and company are going to be able to do enough to get Florida over the hump.
Correct. Yeah, I'm with you. Houston.
All right. So now let's shift our attention. Dude, look, we're flying. Only 48 minutes, dude. We are fucking flying, dude. Arizona, Longwood. My note here is take Longwood's point total under.
Okay.
They played you know where their coach is? Rod Strickland.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Long Island, they just play slow. They don't rebound. They struggle to score against Chicago State. Arizona is going to be able to control the interior. Not, you know what I mean? So I just take Arizona. If the team total is a little too low for you, I would actually even look to play the under here because Long Island's not going to push the pace. And Arizona, the key thing with Arizona is the math equation. They don't shoot threes. So eventually that's going to catch up to them. This isn't going to be the game.
Right. I agree.
Next one right here, we got Villanova, dude. Here's a question for you. How many wins does Villanova have over top 50 KenPom teams this season?
Over?
How many wins?
Over top 50? I'm guessing none.
One.
Oh.
One. Yeah, my notes in this game, interested to see yours. Mountain West has struggled this season in the tournament, 34% ATS, 31% in the first round. I really have no strong lean. I feel I like, from what I've seen of Utah State, I've liked them a lot. But the Mountain West, there's always that team for the Mountain West everyone always loves, then they shit the bed in the first round. Have it be New Mexico a couple years ago. Colorado State, I believe last year, lost to Maryland. This Villanova team, the Big East is down. Kevin Willard has been great. I like Willard a lot, but to me right here, there's certain games I'm definitely not going to be watching. This is number 2 on the list.
This is one.
This is 2.
Yeah. I forgot. We already talked about the number 1 team.
So next, this is all you, big dog.
Yeah, I mean, so another classic 8-9, 2 very different resumes here. Utah State definitely has a confidence boost with their conference title, right? Winning the Mountain West, as you just mentioned, right? And that matters here just because 8-9 games often come down to form more than their raw seed number, right? So Villanova likely has the brand name public appeal, but Utah State just feels like they have the smoother basketball team entering this weekend for this matchup here. I mean, it is a true 50-50 matchup here. Very slight, sharp lean to Utah State. Square lean on Villanova. I'll just take, Utah State here as a small upset.
Next one. All right. So this is my notes. No, you can lead off this one. I'll lead off the next one.
Oh, for Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I was watching baseball. Oh, down 1-2, 2 outs. Yeah, US did not win that. Sorry. Anyway, all right.
Did the USA lose?
Yeah, 3-2 in the 9th. Jeez. Literally on a RBI double, I think it was that scored it.
Jesus, dude.
Jeez, yeah.
Dude, Brian Woo's out there pitching. That shit ain't happening. Let's go ahead.
I know. There's nobody from America's team, I think, represented. Anyway, all right. So Wisconsin was High Point. So, High Point won the big Wisconsin, the at-large team here. So this is one of those headline public upset games in the bracket that I mentioned, again, to be watching, carefully for. High Point is 30-4, and they had been specifically flagged as a trendy upset, right? While Wisconsin drew a lot of respect for its late push, climbed to the 5 seed. This is the kind of game where the public loves that 12 seed story. But I think the 5 seed still is the sturdier bracket play. And, so the public lean right now, 62% on High Point, right? And again, once everybody's already leaning in that direction to me, it becomes a fade the public spot for myself. So I think the sharper lean is Wisconsin. I'm going Wisconsin straight out of a bettor's strong fade the trendy 12 spot that everybody's trying to push for.
Wisconsin has been punching up all season. Guards can shoot. I think they have the advantage in the backcourt. High Point can score. Question is, can they get stops? Getting hype from last year, but in my eyes, this team isn't as good as it was last year's team. They have yet to face a top 100 opponent. High Point likes to fast break. Wisconsin is elite. We saw what they did against Michigan State. The reason why Michigan State struggled against Wisconsin is Wisconsin does not allow you to get out in transition. If that's going to limit what High Point likes to do, that's going to be a problem. High Point likes to get to the line. Wisconsin doesn't foul. Winter expected to play for Wisconsin. That's going to boost their rim protection. High Point's been off for 2 weeks. How is that going to affect their performance? You know what I mean? Like, you haven't been doing anything for 2 weeks. Now you're traveling out to Portland for a new gym, playing an early tip-off game where the energy in that arena is probably not going to be that high. How, you know what I mean? How is High Point going to adjust to that? To me, this is a no-brainer. I'm with you. I think the Badgers get through. Now, can I talk dirty to you about the Rainbow Warriors?
I can't wait.
I talk dirty to you.
I can't wait.
Arkansas is inconsistent. Can beat anyone, can lose to anyone. They have a shorthanded 7-man rotation. Now they're traveling to Portland to play on a Thursday after just winning on Sunday, playing 3 games in a row with extremely, like I said, 7-man rotation. Third highest 3-point delta in the tournament. What does that mean? They are due for shot regression, and their opponents are due for positive shot regression. Guess who has the worst 3-point delta in the tournament?
Arkansas.
No, they have the third best.
They have their best. Oh, so Hawaii then?
Hawaii has the worst. So to me, the regression stuff is setting up perfectly.
Okay.
The brick throwers. That's what we used to call them when I played basketball. Brick throwers.
Right.
Shot 60% from deep against Vanderbilt. Hawaii has a strong interior defense. Hawaii can score at the rim. Hawaii is very good at limiting threes. That could disrupt what Alabama's perimeter game. Now we have the travel concerns. As I mentioned, Arkansas, 3 days, 3 games, finished Sunday. Now you have to travel from the SEC tournament over 2,000 miles to Portland. Now people are like, well, what about Hawaii? Hawaii had their tournament in Vegas. Hawaii is at the travel advantage. Cal, Apari, 2-8 ATS when laying 15 or more points in the tournament. 4-9 ATS in the first round with a 7th seed or more difference. Now look, Acuff is elite, but he's shooting 50% on catch and shoot 3 since February 1st. We all know, like, you know what I mean? That's not sustainable.
Yep.
Chris Johnson, I think he's going to give Arkansas some problems. I know that they don't mix up their defense, but Hawaii, I think they're going to play some zone. Arkansas struggled in zone this year. Cal historically doesn't adjust well in these tournaments. Hawaii has been strong limiting transition. That's going to limit fast breaks. That doesn't play in Arkansas's hands. Now, look, Acuff can score 40, but I really feel if Hawaii can limit turnovers, I think they're going to be able to contain Arkansas, and we're going to look up, and it's going to be like a 1-possession game with 4 minutes left.
Right.
I love Hawaii here, dude. To me, this Arkansas team feels like that Auburn team that lost to Yale a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Hawaii gets through.
I like it mostly because, again, the public is so heavy on Arkansas. They're at 82%. When you have numbers like that, you know, in this early round for me, that's screaming attention of, again, fade the public, right? So, you know, I think Hawaii is live enough to be annoying. I think they really do have, I think, a chance of a real upset here. I do also credit, I mean, this is going to be a really fun champion versus champion game, though. You know, Arkansas winning the SEC tournament, and I'm kind of the mentality of anybody but the SEC to win this fucking thing. So, you know, I don't hate it that, you know, Hawaii won the Big West and has a real potential threat here.
I got the plus 15.5 and plus 900, dude.
Oh shit. There you go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Next one right here. We got BYU. Checking the scoreboard right now. Texas up by 3, 15 minutes left. So, I mean, it's a coin flip. Do you have any, it's really hard to like give a breakdown with not knowing who they're playing. Do you have any,
kind of to your point, because we don't really know who's in right now. I just put BYU through.
We got Gonzaga against Kennesaw State here. Kennesaw State has the pace to stick around for a while. I think Gonzaga pulls away late. Few 24, 31, and 1 against the number in the tournament. I'm not saying Gonzaga's cover, but I just don't think Kennesaw State has the dogs.
No, I got Gonzaga.
I mentioned there's games I really have no interest in, and this is the game. I literally, like, honestly, like Miami, I love basketball. This Miami against Missouri game does fucking nothing for me. Like, this is the game right here. I have no interest in watching. You know, it honestly, I'm glad it's on at 9:10. That way my old ass can go to bed.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah, a couple angles that I see here. I mean, this is maybe the hardest game to handicap cleanly because it doesn't have the obvious trendy dog or a fraud favorite, right? Miami got a boost in perception by reaching the ACC semis, right? And so they climbed into the final AP poll. And then on the other side, Missouri feels like the kind of 10 seed the public won't hesitate to click on. And so you don't want that either. You know, in a bracket setting here, I rather side with the 7 seed. And again, my whole mentality: anybody but the SEC win this fucking thing. So
it is going to be a de facto home game for Missouri, though.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, like I said, like I'm siding with 7 just because they had some late season momentum, right? Then I don't want to overforce a coin flip upset here and saying it's Missouri. The public is leaning on Missouri right now, and so again, it's kind of my fade the public mentality. Let's go Miami.
Next round, fun fact: the 2 conference futures I hit were Queens plus 425 in the A-Sun,
Nice.
and Purdue plus 725 in the Big Ten. This is my note. Are you ready for this? You ready for this little tip?
I'm waiting. Yeah.
Queens guards can give Purdue trouble. They're going to create some matchup problems. This is going to be until this is going to be until the Elite 8, the team that Smith and Lawyer will struggle with the most.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, Queens got guards, but Purdue's got the interior stuff. I think Purdue pieced it together. I know, historically speaking, teams that have done well in the Big Ten tournament haven't produced. This team was number 1 when the season started.
I'm with you.
I think offensively they figured some stuff out. Now, look, FTR for them, he did get a little banged up. That could rear his head a little bit later, but against the Queens team, no chance. Top of the bracket, Arizona against your Utah State Aggies, my friend.
Arizona.
Wisconsin. Honestly, this is the thing you do, guys. Anytime one of those big seeds win, it's an auto fade the next round. Obviously, Wisconsin. BYU Gonzaga. Does AJ keep on rolling, or does Mark Few put him in hell?
I say Gonzaga.
BYU defensively is a wreck. Obviously, offensively, they can get going with anyone. When you have the best player in the game, top 3 pick in the draft, you already have a serious chance. But overall, I think Gonzaga is the better team. Miami had the weakest schedule in the ACC. And we saw how much they struggled against Virginia.
Yep.
I think they're ahead of schedule. I think this was a great year for them. But I think just interior and with the veteran leadership of Smith, I think that's too much for them. I have Purdue going through.
Correct. Same.
Now, this one's interesting. I mentioned the math problem before. Wisconsin likes to shoot threes.
Yep.
Is Arizona interior scoring 2s going to be enough? Question mark.
I think so.
Okay.
I think you'll see regression late when it comes to the 3-point shooting.
Purdue against Gonzaga. Now, full transparency, I have Purdue 14-1 to make the Final Four. So boom, Purdue.
So boom, there you go.
This isn't. I'm sure. I thought Gonzaga, and my thing, I always fuck around and like do what I think the seeds will be. I had Gonzaga as a 5. I don't think Gonzaga is that good this year.
Yeah.
Arizona, Purdue. I'll let you pick this one.
I got Arizona in.
Oof.
Sorry for your 14-1, baby.
Oh, I can hedge out. Michigan against my boy Ace Howard, who covered my 2.5. Obviously, Michigan here. Yeah. This one right here, this one to me, let me run through my notes real quick here, then I'll let you chime in. Can St. Louis handle Georgia's press? St. Louis has shot like shit the last 6 weeks. They're due for some positive regression. Will Georgia's be able to rebound? St. Louis can rebound, but Georgia, for how big and athletic they are, can't. Are they going to be able to limit them? How is the athletic mismatch going to look for St. Louis? St. Louis is elite in the half-court offense. But is the Georgia press going to take them so far out of their offensive rhythm? You know, how is that going to look? St. Louis grades well defensively. Will Georgia be able to have success in their half-court sets? Georgia's been shooting lights out from 3 too.
Yeah.
This is an interesting matchup, man. And I to me, it's a true coin flip.
I was about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth there. You know, but really, I think Georgia's more, again, attracting that SEC brand support. But St. Louis, they're like such a clean, under the radar profile for a smaller edge in this matchup, in my opinion. It is such a toss up here. I frame it more as what are you comfortable with as a pick than a conviction play. But knowing how I've watched St. Louis this year, I lean on St. Louis to be the play as a small upset over Georgia.
Now, hear me out, Doc. Hear me out. Okay.
Here it comes.
Texas Tech, second highest 3-point delta in the tournament, due for regression. Akron can't force turnovers. They have the athletic players. They start 5 athletes that can hang with Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Akron can shoot threes. Gross, elite in-game coach. Toledo was eating the living fuck out of them in the MAC championship. He went to a 1-3 zone and totally flipped the game, though. He is elite in that. He's 12-6 against the number, 7-3 in the NCAA tournament, first round. Texas Tech struggles defending pick and roll. Akron, this is their 3rd year in a row in the tournament. Toppin is out. That's their best player. Basically, Texas Tech's offense is 3-point, and that's it. They're just a 3-point machine now, and it's just going to be a variance type game. I like Akron here, dude. If Toppin was playing, I think Texas Tech could win it, but no Toppin. They lost their interior. Akron's got the shooting. They got the guards. They got everything to hang with the Texas Tech team. I got Akron advancing.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
But I am going to say this, though.
What's that?
I saw a random hot chick who was on CBS Sports when I was going through X tweeted out her first-round upset lock, and she said Akron. So now I'm like fucking panicking. And then I was like, I tweeted out RIP to my Akron bet. One guy replied, my boy Kevin replied to it. Seth Davis on them too. So you know what I bet Akron. I got him at what do I get? I got a great number. I believe I got 8.5 or 9.5. I'll look real quick. I got 8.5 and plus 300 on the money line. But like that public dog thing you've talked about, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So again, another type of 5-12 game. The public loves a circle here, and Akron really shows up with that auto bid shine, right? They're winning the MAC. They've got all the usual 12 seed mythology. Everybody wants to, support, right? And so it really is a cleaner fade spot than true upset target. Now Texas Tech, they got a better athlete for athlete profile, but to your point, they've lost, some of that defensive backbone. So I do look at this as a closer game. The public lean, though, it's getting up there, man. That's the part that scares me as well about this in terms of a betting perspective. I do think Akron could upset in this 1-12-5 matchup on the board. If I was to circle this one, it would be this one. I still think because it's getting a little too trendy in terms of what you just described, you could still stick with Texas Tech and feel good about yourself. But again, it's kind of what I just mentioned a little bit. It's a style versus comfort than conviction play, right? I'm looking at it from a bettor's perspective, and the public is leaning hard on Akron right now, and I'm kind of at the fade the trendy 12 game because of that. I do think Akron really does have the backbone to get it done over Texas Tech, though. So I'm going to try and stick with you on this one.
Okay, let's go.
And trust the logic.
Let's go Zips. Next one. Now, it's important to note that Alabama's guard got arrested with 2 pounds of weed.
Yeah,
he's definitely out. Hofstra is another team. Alabama can be beatable. High 3-point variance team. Shoot threes, get to the rim. That's their offense. Hofstra, type of team, performs well in team tournament, plays slower, controls tempo, can hit threes. Now, do you believe in karma?
Well, sure.
If karma's real, Alabama fucking loses, dude. Had Brandon Miller out there. Brandon Miller was there when the player shot somebody and killed somebody. He's bringing NBA guys back to play, and now his point guard got arrested with 2 pounds of weed. I think Hofstra is the karma play, dude. But it fits the mold. Slow, shoot these. You know what I mean? Now look, if you want to go with Bama, if you think this is Oates rallies them up and Bama gets through, I totally get it.
Hofstra's a real auto bid champ here, but this is still Alabama's game to lose.
Yeah.
The whole way. I get the 4-13 line always gets that upset chatter, and I see it because it's just as real as the 5-12. But this doesn't feel like that cleanest 13 seed path on the board. I think Alabama's ceiling is just too high to abandon this early.
Okay.
I'm sticking with Bama. Denver, cannabis is legal, bro.
My note on this game is, how is Tennessee going to shoot themselves in the foot?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'll be honest right here. Tennessee, to me, if Tennessee was ever going to make a run, this would be the year.
Yeah.
But we just don't know who's going to win.
I'm putting Tennessee forward right now.
Just Tennessee in the rim. Now, I jump into the analytics. UVA is elite defending against the rim, and that's the only way Wright State can score.
Yeah.
So now this one's all you. Take the mic. Kentucky, Santa Clara.
Oh, Kentucky. All right. So let's see here. This is one of the best actual upset paths in this region, in my opinion. So that may have already given away where I'm going. But Santa Clara is not some random 10 seed, and Kentucky drew a dangerous first game within a brutal region where I said, this region would be that one to look for upsets. Well, this is much more of a defensible click than trying to get wild with Alabama or Virginia or anything that we just talked about, right? This is one that actually has a best upset path in Santa Clara. And I actually would love to hear your stats on this. But again, public is leaning so hard on Kentucky at almost 60% that I am looking at the sharper lean to be Santa Clara. They've actually posed, such a better profile for themselves. And I really can see the actual upset path here. I'm sure you got some stats. I kind of want to hear yours.
This is what I wrote down for this one. I never trust a team whose coach is going to leave. That's what happened with Santa Clara's coach. He's rumored either to take the Providence job or the Syracuse job. They like to press. Connecticut, Jesus. Kentucky has been good against the press, so that kind of levels it out. Kentucky's going to have the rebounding edge. Kentucky has yet to play a 440-minute game, and that's a little bit worrisome for me. Kentucky, to me, feels like a team that's just waiting for the season to be over.
Yeah. Anybody but the SEC. Let's go.
So I'll go with you, Santa Clara. This is another game, as crazy as it sounds. I really, you know what I mean? Like, I've lost the last 2 times I've been in Kentucky, so fuck Kentucky. I do not want to watch
Kentucky.
Like, that's my eyes. Fuck Kentucky. But yeah, so let's take Santa Clara here. Iowa State, Tennessee State. I don't think we need to spend much time on that.
Nah.
All right, here we go. If Kentucky loses, should Pope be fired? For my boy TC in the chat. I think he should be fired as is. I think you put together a $22 million roster, and that's how poor you do.
That's where you're at. Yeah.
And for me, I thought it was a huge coaching downgrade. Pope was never good at BYU. This isn't it for me. Isn't it for me? And my boy, my Jaguars have been outscored 15-4 to start the second half and are now down by 6. So hopefully that 15.5 can somehow get home. But next place, my friend. Now, I think this game could be trouble. Michigan against St. Louis.
I don't disagree. I still am putting Michigan ahead of them. And it's mostly because, like I mentioned, the underdog profile in the early matchup, but you kind of, I think, also let it out with the show, right? Like, if they weren't going such against heavy hitters with their seeding, this early, I'd probably put them much further in the bracket, but I just don't see them getting by Michigan.
If they had to play any 2 seed except for probably Iowa State, I would like them here.
Mm-hmm.
But Michigan does turn the ball over. Their off guard is out. I'll play St. Louis to cover here, but I'm not going to play them to win.
No.
Next one, we got Hofstra against
Yeah.
baby.
I'm gonna go Akron.
There we go.
Live.
Third year in a row. They have the athletes. They have the coaching advantage. I love this team, and in my eyes, this is the best mid-major team in the tournament. Let's go down to Tennessee against Virginia. To me, right here, this is going to be the second round game I'm looking forward to the most.
Yep.
I think this is a Tennessee team. They have Gillespie. I think Gillespie could go on a run. Virginia likes to press. Odom is going to do Odom type things. Pressed. Good defending the rim. Tennessee's big, likes to get to the rim, can rebound. I think this is going to be a hell of a game. Virginia would probably be a slight favorite. I would probably lean toward Tennessee.
I'm leaning Tennessee.
Yeah. Iowa State should beat Arizona. I mean, Iowa State offensively is finally starting to click a little bit, finally starting to put some things together. I don't think Santa Clara has the athletes to get it around. And like I said, right. I like to fade teams where the coach is going to be leaving. Excuse me. And that's what Santa Clara is. So I'll take Iowa State here. Yep. Up on the top part, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
At that point, it's a walk, I think, for Michigan.
At that time, it's a walk. Tennessee, Iowa State, intriguing game.
I'm going to put Tennessee through.
Okay, you're going to think Tennessee.
I like. This is where I said it's going to come from this region. I think it's, to your point, you just kind of hit the nail on the head with a few of the mentions of the profile of Tennessee, where they're going. I can see them. Once they get by the 3, they're going to be really live against the 2, and I can see them getting by to play against Michigan.
Now, Michigan is Tennessee, dude. I hate Michigan, so I'll let you pick this. But I will say this, dude. When I was at the Big Ten tournament, I met some of the guys on Michigan's team. Fucking nice kids. And you want them to just be little fucking assholes so you can hate them, but they were nice kids. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan and Tennessee. All right, so strength on strength here. Michigan, they're going to have a size advantage. I think they'll have a very efficient half-court offense. They could even have the rebounding edge in this game. They just get their weakness for them. They can get stuck in like slow, grindy games, and they're not really, built for that kind of chaos. I think Tennessee, though, what they could do well, have again elite defense. I think they can force some tough shots, bad possessions for Michigan. Now their weakness is their offense can go cold, right? They're not really built to play from behind here. So, turn this into a 60-65 position game, for Tennessee, or can Michigan actually control the tempo and dominate inside? I mean, really, the market narrative to me is that the public is leaning Michigan, right, for the 1 seed safety, kind of chalky. I'm really interested in Tennessee just with their metrics and defense. I think, in my opinion, that Tennessee is going to have the better defensive efficiency, and I think they'll have a better physical profile at that point. Michigan may have a better offensive balance and rebounding. I don't know. I want to give the upset play to Tennessee.
Tennessee is going to have the advantage in the glass. They have Gillespie is going to be the best guard. Michigan has some turnover issue, and I think the injury in Michigan's backcourt is just going to be a little bit too much. I'm with you on Tennessee, and full transparency, I have a future on Iowa State to win it, and I have a future on Tennessee to go to the Final Four.
There you go.
So
you got one of them in there for you.
Got one of them. Rematch of last year's big upset, Duke against Houston.
I got Duke.
Arizona against everyone's heartthrob, Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Going Arizona.
In the final, who you got?
Going Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll put the total at 186. How about that? Nice high total.
I like that.
That's a high fucking total, dude.
170.
171.
179.
There you go, dude. So we're going Arizona over Duke. David, Jesus Christ, dude. Hour and 20 minutes. Props to us, though. I looked. Last year, it took us 145. So we
really cut that time down.
I was trying to speed through. I told you I wasn't going to nerd out at the beginning of the show.
We did the right spot. It's all good. Yeah, man, for sure.
Guys, David and I are going to be starting our MLB show mid-April sometime. We're still trying to figure that out so we can get enough data points. Got some fun and exciting stuff planned for that, so be on the lookout for that. Where can they find you on social media, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, kind of as a ticker, showing there. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy doing this every year. Last year, I mean, if anybody followed the bracket that we put out there, I'm pretty sure it cashed in a lot of different.
We had the only thing is we had Duke over Florida in the final.
Right.
So we had all the Final Four teams.
Right.
But we
got chalky last year, and it stayed chalky.
Florida.
I mean,
we had
but yeah, I still ended up cashing in a majority of my leagues, just based on where we were at. So hope you all enjoyed. Hope that made sense, especially from a bettor's perspective. But again, just like my name says, follow me on social media, BetterDP21X, Instagram. I really pick up the pace when baseball season gets running here. So take a look, follow, be happy to answer any questions people have.
See, I really pick up. I never stop, dude. I just fucking grind, man. I'm a fucking grinder, dude.
I didn't stop. I went on NASCAR this past weekend. What are you talking about? NASCAR and F1.
Jesus. So I just won. Man, what did I win? I just had Kozlowski top 10. He actually, I was pissed off, but son of a bitch snuck in for the top 10. Make sure to give that man a follow. We'll be back next week. We'll share some MLB futures. We'll talk about the Sweet 16. Appreciate it, my friend. Best of luck. Okay, here we go. Who from the other side of the bracket matches up best against Arizona? Other side. What side of the bracket are you talking about, my friend? I mean, like my thing with Arizona is always just going to be like, I know I've said it like 18 times, the math equation. They don't like to shoot threes. If they play a team that can get hot from three, a team like Wisconsin for me, is going to be a hard team for them because they like to shoot threes. But is Wisconsin going to get there? That's the point. I mean, High Point is obviously a chalky thing. Neither one of us think High Point can get through. I think Wisconsin, who's done punched up, they beat Michigan State, they beat Illinois, they beat Michigan. They don't allow teams to get out on fast break. I think that could be a good team for that. On the bottom side of the bracket, I think that I think Purdue can get through. I really like this Purdue team. I think Purdue can get through. I think it's Purdue and Arizona's bracket to lose, if that answers your question, my friend. Appreciate you. And Chris, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I think we already kind of lined up the other side of the bracket with literally the championship matchup being Duke in terms of profile there. But in terms of their side, I mean, Tennessee, I think, is going to be that team. And then, you know, obviously Houston. I mean, really Duke or Houston. And obviously I think that comes down to Final Four anyway. So, you know, that's just where they're going to find it.
Appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll be back next week with some MLB futures, some Sweet 16 bets. Check us out. Give that man a follow. Best of luck in your bets. And we'll talk soon, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.